Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, Andy here. I went from depressed and suicidal to living a life of abundance and joy. If I can do it, you sure as hell can too. I have fought a lot of resistance to peace and happiness over the years, which might sound like an insane statement. Who doesn't want peace? Who doesn't want happiness? Turns out most of us don't want peace and most of us don't want happiness. Or maybe a more accurate or more fair statement would be a lot of us are incredibly scared of peace and scared of happiness and scared of satisfaction. Let's dive into a little bit of story time, and I'll talk about my relationship with my girlfriend Emmy. We've been together for 6.5 years, and I want to talk about Bronwyn as well, the girl that we've been dating together for 2 years as well. Emmy and I don't really fight or argue much anymore. We still feel emotions sometimes. Sometimes we might be a little bit grumpy. Sometimes our brain will tell us that we have a grievance with the other person. But we talk about it in a very calm and rational way. We both have a lot of tools of how to deal with our own emotions and how to love our emotions and not get so caught up in, the sort of frustrations and sadness and all of that. And so we don't blame each other anymore. We don't raise our voices. We don't say unkind things. We don't do the cold shoulder. We just talk about things. And any single disagreement we might ever have lasts for all of 3 minutes. And it's always a very gentle disagreement. But for me, and I know for Emmy as well, there was a lot of resistance to the peace that we now feel. And for a really long time, I was kind of freaked out by the peace. It probably took me about a year to be okay with the fact that we were peaceful, which again might sound like an insane statement, but sometimes our brains can be a little bit insane. And so for a while, I was kind of freaked out by this peace and how gentle Emmy had become. I was even more freaked out by how gentle I myself had become. It literally scared me. Because all my life, just like most of us, I'd had a very messy brain. I would get angry at people, I'd get frustrated, I would blame other people, I would see the source of happiness as outside of myself, as in something outside of me is responsible for my happiness. I need to get more money, I need to get more sex, I need to get a deeper relationship. I need something out there that will bring me happiness. And so having this peaceful internal state of mind was a little bit scary to me because I didn't know if it was normal. And I had thoughts of, should I be fighting with Emmy more? Is it healthy to be this peaceful and gentle and kind to each other? Surely it's stupid to be this grateful to each other all the time. Don't we need conflict? Should I really be telling her that I'm grateful for her 20 times a day? Won't she get a big ego and then she'll leave me and something bad will happen? Aren't I just being a doormat by telling someone that I love them that often? Fuck, isn't that a bad thing? And my brain, I guess all of our brains, want to invent conflict just because all of us humans are so used to conflict, disagreement, war, etc. And for me, in my relationship with Emmy, peace felt dangerous. Like something was wrong, I guess. I felt that same sort of peace with all of you, my audience, and my coaching clients. The more peaceful I became and the more I started loving all of you guys and girls even more, and the more gentle my content became, and the less I argued and the less I inserted my opinion. I still have my opinion in there sometimes, but I've slowly reduced it and slowly become a little bit less egotistical with some of the ways that I phrase things. And as my relationship with all of you started to become more peaceful and gentle, I started looking for conflict. I started hunting for that one negative comment. I started clinging on to it and saying, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. People are supposed to hate me. I'm not supposed to be just peaceful and love my audience and we build this beautiful community. And so my brain would go hunting or seeking for conflict. And I would run away from the peace that I felt with all of you and with my coaching clients. And the girl that Emmy and I have been dating for 2 years, Bronwyn, who brings a hell of a lot of joy and beauty and love and obviously some pretty fabulous bedroom exploits as well. I have felt this same sort of weirdness around peace with her. She has always been incredibly gentle. She is such a loving, kind human being, and that is reflected in the way that she treats other people, the way that she treats animals, the job that she has. She's just a very gentle, peaceful soul. And I often thought, surely we're due for a fight with her. We've been seeing her for 2 years. and we've never argued or yelled or said a rude word to each other or had a moment of conflict or even a little bit of a disagreement. Yes, there's some opinions we don't agree on, but we've never really had a disagreement. And shouldn't she be mad about certain things that we've done? There was one time many years ago, like a year ago, where Emmy was going through some emotions and Bronwyn waited patiently at the train station for us to pick her up for about an hour while Imogen was processing her emotions and struggling and basically having a panic attack. This was about a year and a half ago. So we'd only been seeing Bronwyn for a few months. And Bronwyn just patiently waited at the train station. Shouldn't Bronwyn hate us for not seeing her more often? We see her about once every 2 weeks. Shouldn't she be mad that sometimes Emmy will flake or I will flake, and sometimes Bronwyn will just have to see one of us because the other person is going through something or we're busy or something like that? Shouldn't Bronwyn be mad about that? Shouldn't she be angry that sometimes I, Andy, am tired from working a lot? I pour a hell of a lot into this content. I pour a hell of a lot into my coaching, and sometimes I'm a little bit tired, and so she will see us, and I'll just be very drained. And shouldn't she be mad about that? Sometimes I don't have any energy when we hang out, and all I want to do is kind of just lay in bed, the three of us just talking, and maybe we have sex, but maybe we just cuddle. Shouldn't Bronwyn be mad that she came all this way to see us and I don't have any energy? Shouldn't she be resentful that she's the one that makes the trip to see us 95% of the time? She lives about 1 hour's drive away. If she takes the train, it's like 2 hours or an hour and a half. Shouldn't she be mad that she's putting in that effort? And my brain literally wants to invent conflict with Emmy, conflict with Bronwyn, conflict with all of you, conflict with my family, conflict with my friends. My brain will go hunting for it because that's just what it's used to. And something else that our brains, or you could say our egos, often do is intentionally searching for the next external thing that should make me happy, even if it knows that thing won't really make it happy. Because the ego, the function of the ego is to keep itself going, even if it knows it won't be happy. What I mean by that is the ego is secretly scared that we won't need it anymore. That one day we'll just be peaceful, loving, content beings who, yes, still have goals and things they're working on, but that's coming from a place of peace now rather than a feeling of desperation and missing out. You know, so many of us feel desperate for our goals. We feel this sense of pain and longing and all of that sort of stuff. And the ego is secretly scared that you won't need those low-level emotions anymore, that one day you'll just be a peaceful, happy, content little Buddha, little Buddhist monk just sitting there working on your goals, in fact, taking even more effort or putting in even more love and effort into your goals, but it won't be coming from this sort of negative place of fear and anger and pride and force and motivation and willpower and all of that. It'll just be happening from a place of love and peace. And so the ego is secretly scared that one day you won't need it anymore, that you won't need those low-level emotions, which is why there's so much resistance to ideas like self-love. I say to all of you all the time, love yourself. I say that a billion times a millisecond, right? I'm just constantly saying, love yourself. But there's a lot of resistance to that, isn't it? A lot of you listening will be like, I don't want to love myself. I don't deserve that. That's gay. That's wrong. That's stupid. Bro, I don't have time for that self-love shit, bro. That's like some hippie shit that you see on Instagram. That's what the hippies are talking about, bro. That's like feminine shit. I don't have time for that. I used to resist the idea of self-love too. I think I was deep down scared of getting to a point where I treated myself the way that I want other people to treat me. I was scared of treating myself the way that I treat other people. You know, I can be kind to other people, but sometimes that's hard to turn it back around on ourselves, isn't it? There's lots of resistance to ideas like forgive your neighbor. How many of you listening are Christians and yet you don't follow the teachings of Christ? You're trying to, you're doing your best. But Jesus didn't shut the fuck up about forgiving your neighbor. He said it all the time. The Good Samaritan story. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Christians are literally, or the Christianity is literally founded on forgiving your neighbor. And yet, look at how much war is attributed to Christianity and other religions. These same religions that talk about forgiving your neighbor, the people involved in them often don't do that because there's lots of resistance to that. There is often resistance to being unconditionally loving. We put so many conditions on our love, and we carefully dole out or meter out our love, and we say, you have to earn my love. You have to earn my kindness. I will only be nice to you if you do what I want. If you do what I want, then I will love you. If you do what I don't want or don't do what I want, then no, I'm going to withhold my love. I'm going to be judgmental. I'm going to hold on to my grievances. I'm going to hold a grudge against you. I'm going to secretly think that you're a bad person. I'm going to hold resentment and anger. And I'm going to be very resentful even if I do what you want me to. I'm going to drag my heels and not do it with an open heart because you don't deserve it because you didn't do what I wanted. That's not unconditional love. We resist the idea of being the change that you want to see in the world. You know, people have said this since the dawn of time. That's a quote from Gandhi, you know, be the change you want to see in the world. But I say it all the time. You know, if you want something, you go first. But we often resist that, don't we? And we resist put down your weapons and choose peace, not war. My God, do we resist that one? Most of human history has been tons and tons and tons of wars. You know, several world wars, lots of small conflicts. Right now, there are so many wars going on right now that I can't even keep track of them. If you Google Wikipedia current list of wars, you'll see a whole bunch of wars that are going on that you probably didn't even know about or didn't even think about. You know, unless you're constantly tuned into the news, which I definitely don't recommend that if you want peace and love. Don't do that. But even if you're tuned into the news, you're not going to be able to keep track of all the wars. And so there are lots of wars going on. And we often struggle with the idea of choosing peace over war, don't we? Most humans struggle to choose peace. They will choose war. And we only really choose peace temporarily when the war gets so bad and so horrific and we run out of resources and we get a little bit tired of watching our fellow countrymen and countrywomen die, that we say, holy shit, I need a break from this. This is too much for me to bear. And then 10 years, 20 years, 50 years later, we jump into another war or another conflict. And outside of global, you know, big wars, we have wars in ourselves, in our interpersonal lives, don't we? It's so much easier to go to war against your boss that you feel is harming you, or the opposite gender that you feel isn't giving you what you want, or society for not giving you a chance, or men for not being, you know, good fucking patriarchs, or women for all being horrible bitches. It's so easy to go to war with external groups or different skin colors or different genders or your boss or different classes or different hierarchies or strangers on the internet or some content creator or someone you see on Instagram or whatever. It's a lot more of a challenge to choose peace, even though we all walk around constantly telling other people how much we hate war, how much we hate fighting, how much we hate drama, how we fucking can't stand how bad this country is for attacking that other country. And people will put in their little flag on Facebook or whatever and say, I stand with Ukraine. I hate war. I stand with, God, I don't even know which one people are standing with. Israel, Palestine? I don't fucking know. I can't keep track. Whichever one is supposedly the bad guy, I hate them. I hate war. I hate conflict. I hate drama. I hate that my girlfriend and I are fighting all the time. I hate that my boss is a dick to me, and yet I'm fucking addicted. I can't leave that cycle. I want it so bad. It's the secret payoff of the ego that it secretly loves conflict. It loves war. It loves drama. It loves righteous anger and justified anger. It loves having strong political views. It loves having opinions. It loves being really, really mad. The ego loves to be upset while simultaneously saying, I hate this so much. I hate being upset. And yet I keep doing it. I keep jumping straight into it. And I have done that as much as anyone else. Of course I have. I'm a human being, just like all of you are. You know, we're all trying to do our best. But the ego sees some of the things that I said before, you know, self-love, forgiving your neighbor, choosing peace, not war, being unconditionally loving, being the change that you want to see in the world, you know, taking responsibility instead of blaming other people. The ego sees those things as a threat. Literally, the ego sees peace as a threat, as insane as that statement I just said might sound. You might hear that and go, what are you talking about? No, we want peace. No, the ego part of your brain, or our brains, secretly sees peace as a threat. Because think about it. If you had peace in your own heart, in your own mind, like if you were a peaceful person who didn't hold resentments towards other people, who wasn't judgmental, who wasn't full of anger and pride and ego and, you know, frustration and sadness and grief and shame and guilt, if you were able to let go of those lower level emotions and just be a peaceful, gentle soul, you wouldn't really need much in that moment. You'd be peaceful. You'd feel good. You'd have an abundance mentality. Even if you didn't have a lot of things in your life, you'd feel peaceful and happy and joyful. And so you wouldn't really need a lot of things, would you? Maybe you need a little bit of food, electricity would be nice, maybe you need some water, a place to sleep at night, and that's about all you would need. You wouldn't need anyone else to love you because you'd love yourself. You wouldn't really need anyone to give you anything because, as long as you got a little bit of money to buy some food and some water and some shelter, you'd be fine. You wouldn't need to be mega rich. You wouldn't need a Lamborghini. You wouldn't need people's approval. If people hated you, you'd be like, that's cool. I like myself. I don't mind if you hate me. You're allowed to hate me. In fact, not everyone is going to like me, and that's beautiful. You wouldn't need anything. You'd have natural abundance, or maybe you'd say you'd have outcome independence. You wouldn't need an outcome in order to be happy, which means you wouldn't really need the ego anymore. You would have no need for shame and guilt because you love yourself and you love other people. You'd have no need for anger because you wouldn't feel entitled and you wouldn't judge other people. You would have no need for grief. Maybe you'd feel some emotions sometimes, but you'd process them and you'd do, stoicism and the things that I have in my Play to Win video course, and you'd work through the grief and you'd recontextualize it and see it as a beautiful thing. You'd see this emotion as teaching you something. You're feeling grief or anger or whatever else as a teaching moment to help you learn to let go of those emotions. And so you wouldn't really have any need for those emotions anymore. You would be a complete whole person, wouldn't you? You'd have that abundance mentality. You'd be full of love and joy, the kind of things that I'm trying to gently help all of you learn through this channel, through my Play to Win video course, through my coaching. That's what I'm trying to get you all towards a little bit more, towards those things that you keep saying you want, which is peace and love and happiness. I just want some peace, Andy. I just want to stop feeling these negative emotions. But the secret thing is, no, you don't. I mean, you do, but you also are very attached to the low level emotions. You're very attached to the anger. Yes, you want peace, but you also want war. Yes, you want love, but you also want to hold resentments and you want conditional love, which is not love. Yes, you want to be happy, but you also secretly want the drama of being unhappy. You secretly love being angry. It feels very good to be justifiably angry, to hold on to righteous anger and say, I should be angry, because if I'm not angry, then I won't be able to defend myself. If I'm not angry, then I won't be able to punish other people. I am judge, jury, and executioner, and it is my job to go around judging people, punishing them, making sure the world is a fair place. That's not a fair place. That's the ego's version of a fair place, which is just a place of war, conflict, and misery. And so, yeah, the ego isn't dumb. The ego can sense that peace, love, enlightenment, forgiveness, compassion, etc., would be you letting go of the ego itself. The ego realizes that if you actually discover your true, infinite, joyful, peaceful, loving nature, you'll have no need for those ego emotions of like shame, guilt, pain, anger, suffering, righteous hatred, judgment, and all of that. You would let go of those things. And then what would the ego do with itself? The truth of the matter is the ego would be very happy because you'd be peaceful and loving and all of that. But the ego doesn't know that. The ego just thinks that peace leads to not needing itself anymore. And the ego is secretly scared. Understand that we get a payoff from the drama of anger, from shame, from guilt. We secretly get to feel like we're the victim. We don't have to change. Those low-level emotions save us from having to change, from having to take responsibility and improve ourselves, which can be a little bit scary. Those low-level emotions can save us from potential rejection. If you hold judgment towards others, you don't have to keep an open mind and go and have an open heart discussion with someone and possibly risk being offended or being judged or having them not like you when they discover who you really are. And so the ego is sort of protecting you or trying to. It's not very effective at that, but it's doing its best job. And that is the purpose of the ego, is to secretly protect you by secretly holding on to fear, judgment, anger, shame, guilt. Those are self-protection mechanisms. Understand the ego isn't bad. You don't transcend the ego by going to war with it. That just secretly fuels the ego even more. You don't hate the ego. You don't hate the part of you that feels those emotions. Don't hate anger. Don't hate fear. Don't hate shame and guilt. What we do is we love those emotions. We come to understand them. We learn about them. We read Stoicism, read my Play to Win video course. We read things like Byron Katie and David Hawkins and Buddhism and all of these people who talk about psychology. Read from psychologists. And we slowly understand the function of the ego, which is, to protect us and look after us. At least that's what it's trying to do. And then we gently let go of it and we say, would I like to be a little bit more grateful each day? Would I like to be a little bit more peaceful each day? Would I like to work on non judgmentalism towards myself and towards others a little bit each day? Because again, the ego secretly fears and sometimes even goes into hatred towards peace, unconditional love, and unconditional forgiveness. The ego is just scared of those things because it doesn't understand them. When you've lived your life, or most of your life, fearing other people, being angry at other people, getting mad at other people, wishing other people would do everything that you wanted, hating rejection, feeling all of those sort of low-level emotions, you're scared of peace because you don't even know what it looks like. And our brains are secretly scared of something, sometimes not so secretly. We're scared of that which we don't understand. That is where racism comes from. It comes from a lack of understanding about the other culture or the other skin color. That is where sexism comes from. It comes from a lack of understanding of the other gender. All of these isms, all of these judgments that we have towards other people, with our in versus out group thinking, us versus them thinking, it just comes from a lack of understanding. It's just a fear of the unknown, you know? Racism isn't bad, it's just a fear of the unknown. We don't transcend it by hating racism, which is how a lot of people try and solve racism, don't they? No, it's quite the opposite. We transcend racism by understanding, by knowledge, by teaching, by education, by love. That's how we transcend the isms. But the ego is secretly scared of those. And so I'm very curious to hear from you guys and girls. Are there things that you think your brain might be secretly scared of too, even if those things seem beautiful, like peace, forgiveness, love, compassion, happiness, success? Maybe it's peace that you're secretly in fear of because deep down, you love conflict. You're getting something out of drama. You love to turn on the news and be angry, or you love to read articles and things that make you mad. You love to have political opinions. Maybe you love just having an opinion in the first place. Most of us do, right? And maybe you're secretly scared of peace because you would have to give up the drama and the theater of conflict and drama and anger and being political and opinions. Without your opinion, who would you be? Maybe you're secretly scared that you would lose your personality if you let go of your anger and your shame and your guilt and your opinions. You'd be like, who would I be? The truth is, you'd be you, but even more loving and kind and compassionate, and other people would love you even more, which is the thing that we often say that we want, right? I want more people to like me, and yet we're so attached to our personality of anger, our personality of drama, our personality of conflict and hatred, our personality of judgment. And I myself spent years in politics. I used to hate the left. I used to hate progressives. I would call myself a conservative, which is funny because now I share a lot of similar opinions to someone who might be deemed progressive. I talk about love and all of that, and obviously conservative people talk about that too. But I divided it between left and right, and I just picked a side that I hated. And I spent years researching that stuff. I read so many thousands of articles that just made me mad and cut me off from other people and ostracized me from other people. I spent years in the red pill / manosphere space, similar to people like maybe Andrew Tate, but before Andrew Tate. And so I hated women, or I had very strong views about women. I treated them like the other. And anytime I would start feeling peaceful and happy, like maybe I was dating a few women and they were really nice to me, I would intentionally and very deliberately search for articles that would make me angry at women again. I would literally sense the peace washing over me, the compassion towards women washing over me, the understanding towards women washing over me, and I would go, no, I need to fight this. And I was literally logical about it in my head. It's not very logical looking back, but I thought I was being logical. I was like, no, if I'm empathetic towards women, they will use me and they will hurt me. If I learn to love women, then they can just do whatever they want to me. And so I need to protect myself. It's men versus women. It's a battlefield out there. It's a tough landscape. I can't let women into my heart because they'll fucking hurt me. And so I would search for articles that would make me pissed off at women again. And I would feel righteous anger. And I would literally nod my head to myself and be like, yeah, yep. I'm doing a good job by making myself angry at these women. These stupid women, they tried to convince me that they're beautiful people. I can't believe I almost let that work. Holy shit. Okay, I need to be more vigilant with this shit. I need to double the amount of articles I'm reading every day. And it's funny. as I was dating more women, and again, some of them were such lovely human beings that they really did start to rub off on me. They started to warm my cold heart, right? They started to melt my cold heart. I really did double down on the amount of articles I was reading that would make me angry at women, because I was like, I need to be careful. This woman that I'm dating is so lovely and gentle and beautiful and kind and all of that shit, and she's adding so much to my life. I really can't let myself get complacent, because then something bad will happen. And I thought I was being courageous. I literally thought that I was being a strong, stoic, tough alpha male. But looking back, it's so painfully obvious that I was afraid. I was so scared of peace. I was so scared of liking women. I was so scared of kindness from them, because I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to treat it. I didn't know if it meant that I was vulnerable. And oh my God, was I scared of vulnerability. And so I was intentionally trying to fight peace and fight love towards women. I was trying to keep up the anger, because I'd been using anger as a tool to take action and force myself to be motivated up until that point. Like, the anger was a very big motivator for me originally. I was angry at my life. I was angry at my lack of happiness. That's why I started improving myself. Anger was the reason I started improving myself. And so to start letting go of that and start moving towards peace and love was very scary for me, because I was like, if I lose the anger, won't that mean I'm not motivated? Won't that mean that I won't take action? Won't that mean that I'll go back to my old complacent life? And so many of you feel like that too. I have 3 people in my coaching group right now who've all been slowly letting go of their anger towards themselves, towards women, towards the universe, and working towards peace and love. And it's been very scary for them, because they've said the same thing. They've said, but if I lose my anger, wouldn't I just sit at home not taking action? And it's like, no, my friend, do you want to go outside and talk to women? And they're like, yes, I do. Give me 3 reasons why that brings you joy. And they're like, well, I love seeing the women smile when I talk to them. I love how I feel when I hit on them. I love feeling confident and courageous and masculine when I walk up to a woman and hit on her. I love going on dates. I love women. I love their smiles. I love their beauty. I obviously love sex. And so I say, okay, so do you want to go outside and talk to women? And they go, yes. There you go. That's letting love guide you. That's letting excitement guide you. That's what it looks like to let peace guide you. You just think of the reasons why you want to do this thing, why you're excited to do this thing, and you slowly let go of the anger. You don't need to get angry in order to go outside and talk to women. You're allowed to do it from excitement or joy or love, or what you might get out of it and what you might give to them in return. Those things can be the motivators, but it can be very scary to start letting go of a little bit of the anger and the frustration and the pain and the suffering that you initially used as fuel for the motivation, as fuel to take action. Again, to really underline it, it was literally because of anger that I started getting my life together. It was literally because of anger. And so it was such a strange transition to move towards peace and love as motivators for me. But they are such stronger, they are so much more stronger motivators by like 1,000-fold compared to anger or grief or guilt or shame. You know, guilt is motivating, shame is motivating, anger can be motivating, but they're so limited compared to excitement or joy or love or happiness or any of that. And when you use peace or love or joy or even just excitement, like if you just say to yourself, I'm excited to go outside and talk to women today, rather than my life sucks and I need to stop being a fucking pussy, which is anger. If you use excitement to go outside and take action, you get 1,000 times more done. You're obviously going to get more done when you're happy rather than when you feel like shit. That is such an obvious statement, and yet our brain, just out of habit, will go straight to the emotions that make us feel terrible, like anger, shame, guilt, and we think that that is the only tool or the only effective tool that we have for taking action. And the ego will sort of go to war against peace and love. Often when I talk about peace and love and excitement and joy on this channel, your very first thought is, yeah, that's hippie shit that I don't have time for because that's going to get in the way of my self-improvement. No. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many times I'm going to tell you this. I care deeply about you guys and girls being happy, successful, achieving your goals. That is the entire point of this channel. Across all of my platforms, I have done 1,600 pieces of content to try and help you be successful and happy and achieve your goals. I care so much about you achieving your goals. You being excited and peaceful and joyful is a better tool than anger when it comes to you being successful. I want you to succeed with your goals. That is why I talk about joy and peace and love. Those things aren't complacency. You often see peace as like, oh, that means I stop taking action. No, it means you feel peaceful and action is a billion times easier. When you're happy inside yourself, it is so fucking easy to walk up to strangers and be like, hi, you're really pretty. I wanted to say hey and see if you're single. Or, hey, would you like to join my coaching program? I'd love to change your life and I'd love for you to give me money. That is so much easier when you're peaceful and self loving and you feel good. It's such an obvious statement. And yet, again, can you see how the ego part of our brain will get it all twisted up and will say, wow, when Andy talks about peace and self love, he's actually trying to talk me out of my goals. Jesus fucking Christ. No, I am trying to talk you into your goals. I am trying to help you succeed with your goals. And yet the ego part of you will go to war with my words. You'll go to war against me. These are the videos that I do where I talk about peace and love and joy that get the least amount of views, no matter how I phrase it, no matter what thumbnail I use, no matter what title, because people see it as a direct competition or as in direct competition with their goals. When I talk about peace and love and happiness, you literally think I'm trying to talk you out of your goals. No, I am trying to talk you into your goals. You will succeed 10,000 times more if you are happy versus angry and pissed off. You might not believe me on that because holy shit, the ego is an unhumble little beast, isn't it? And when I tell you that, your ego part of your brain might go, no, Andy's wrong. Andy doesn't know me. Andy doesn't know what would motivate me more. Anger is much more motivating than love and peace and joy. Sure, fine. Stick with the anger right now. God knows I went through a lot of anger and pain and suffering and guilt and shame and all of that. But when you get to a point of joy and peace, which you will, if you're going to keep watching this channel, that stuff will rub off on you. The Play to Win video course, you will one day buy it and you will sit down and you will actually take it seriously and do it properly. Then you will start to see, holy fuck, man. Andy was right. Yeah, it's so much easier to walk up to a woman and hit on her when I feel good. That statement shouldn't be controversial. It is easier to hit on women when you feel good. It's easier to make money when you feel good. It's easier to go to the gym when you feel really good. It's easier to be motivated and take action when you feel really good. That shouldn't be a controversial statement. And yet the ego goes to war with that statement because it fears giving up those low-level emotions. Maybe something else you're secretly scared of is forgiveness, because without your grievances and your mistrust of others, you might get hurt, or you might get used, or you might get rejected. And I used to hold on to a ton of grievances and anger and like grudges and all of that. And I would be pissed off at other people. And I thought that was keeping me safe. I genuinely thought that it was having healthy boundaries if I hold on to anger and resentment and judgment of others. I literally thought that. But really, I was just scared. I thought I was being a big, tough alpha male who didn't let anyone hurt him. But what I was implying there, or what's implied in that statement, is I'm scared of being hurt. Please don't hurt me. I don't think I can handle it. And I was scared and I was closing myself off and not risking vulnerability. And funnily enough, it's by being a tiny bit vulnerable and taking a tiny risk that we actually build connection and trust with other human beings. Trust requires vulnerability. Deep connection requires vulnerability. And I was cutting myself off from deep connections by having my walls up like that. It really, really, really was disconnecting me from other people. Maybe you're scared of compassion and empathy and seeing other people as just like you. Because if you treated the opposite gender, for instance, as exactly the same as you, or just like you, or human beings like you, then you wouldn't be that special anymore. It wouldn't be men versus women. And then you'd lose a whole lot of your specialness that you've been carrying around. I used to tell stories that men have it so bad and all that sort of black pill stuff, that red pill, black pill stuff. It's tough for men. It's a dog eat dog world out there. Women have it easy, all of that shit. And as I slowly let go of that stuff, I realized that all human beings sometimes suffer. All human beings have dark emotions sometimes. All human beings are struggling with something. All human beings are going through something, until you reach enlightenment or you become a peaceful Buddhist monk. Yeah, most human beings are going through some pain right now. They have anxiety, they have shame, they have some guilt, they have some things they haven't let go of. And so the way I let go of my story of men have it so bad and women, are the enemy or women are the other, the way I let go of that story was by talking to a ton of women and genuinely asking them what their life was like. I adopted a mindset of curiosity. There's this Walt Whitman quote that I really love: choose curiosity, not judgment. And I would ask these women about their lives. I would ask them what it was like being a woman. I would ask female friends. I'd ask all the women that I slept with, what do you struggle with? What makes you happy? What is it like to be a woman? What do you imagine that it's like to be a man? And then I would tell them, how different their guess was from what it's actually like being a man. And my guesses about what it was like to be a woman were completely wrong too. And I would ask them what their biggest insecurities were, what they struggled with, what goals they had, what they wanted from life, all of that. And as I talked to hundreds of women about their lives and their thoughts and their emotions and what was going on in their brain and in their mind, in their heart, as they opened up to me, I realized that they were just human beings like me. I did this podcast with a funny title a couple of years ago where I said women are just human beings with a pussy. What I mean by that is, like, literally they just have some bits that are a bit different. They got some boobs, they got a pussy, that's about it. But they're human beings like us. Maybe their hormones are slightly different, but that doesn't change behavior as much as you think it might. It doesn't change psychology as much as you think it does. And so they're pretty much just human beings like me. And a mindset that's really helped me is, generally, if I'm trying to connect with another human being, I focus on the similarities, not the differences. Maybe something else that you're scared of is self-love and treating yourself the way that you treat other people. Oh boy, aren't a lot of us scared to do that? Me included sometimes. I am so much better at self-love than I was like 5 years ago, but it's still something that I work on to this day. I am, generally speaking, just a little bit kinder to other people than I am to myself. But for some of you, you're a raging lunatic the way you treat yourself. You're a fucking psycho with the thoughts that you hold onto in your head about yourself. You fucking borderline abuse and bully yourself. Some of you even do literally abuse and bully yourself, and that's okay. You do not have to then beat yourself up for beating yourself up. You don't have to pile on even more guilt and shame towards yourself just because you're already piling on guilt and shame. It's okay. A lot of us struggle to be kind to ourselves, but maybe you're a little bit scared of treating yourself the way you treat others because you're secretly scared to find out that you're not that special. The ego loves to say that it's special. Our brains love to tell us that we're special. We're a special, unique thing that's more important than any other human being on this planet. There's 9 billion people on the planet, but all of us think that we're the best or we're the most perfect. Or the opposite, that we're the most biggest piece of shit. So many of you literally have what I call reverse arrogance or inverted arrogance. I did a video on this called "Depression Can Be a Form of Arrogance." I would know I was depressed for 8 or 9 years. And in that video, I talk about how often with depression or just even low-level emotions, we feel like we're the biggest piece of shit in the world. And we say other people can overcome their depression. I can listen to Andy say in the start of all of his videos, I went from depressed and suicidal to living a life of abundance and joy. If I can do it, you sure as hell can too. I listen to him saying that, but when he says, if I can do it, you sure as hell can too, now he's wrong, because I'm actually worse than him. I'm not tall and white, or I didn't come from a loving family, or I live in a third world country, or I'm shorter than him, or I'm older than him. You'll just invent a reason why you're special. And so depression can be maybe the strongest form of arrogance. It doesn't seem like arrogance. It seems like the opposite. But when we sit there and say that we're a special fucked up case who can't change, and all these other people can go and talk to women or talk to men, but I can't because I'm too short, I'm too old, even though there's so many short guys that have found beautiful women. There's disabled people, obviously, that's such an obvious statement. There are disabled people that have found love and found all of that stuff. There is my favorite person, Nick Vujicic, a man that was born without arms and legs, who has a beautiful wife, Kanye, 4 beautiful children together. He's a motivational speaker. He's published so many books. He travels the world, just living this beautiful life of abundance and joy with no arms and no legs, for fuck's sakes. And so there is no excuse, or there's no reason why we can't be happy. Viktor Frankl, one of my other favorite people, went to Auschwitz, the Nazi death camp, for 3 years and figured out how to be happy and find meaning while there, while surrounded by nonstop suffering. 28 out of 29 people that went to Auschwitz died. So like 97% of people that went there died. And yet he was still able, through all of that, to find some happiness and meaning. So there really is no limits on being happy. And there is also no limits on the ego's attempt to be special. The ego wants to be special. Our brains secretly want to be special and specially fucked up, or be a victim, or be going through a lot of tough stuff that other people won't understand. No one could understand my suffering. And so we're scared to treat ourselves with love and compassion, and to treat ourselves the way we treat other people. We think that other people deserve, kindness sometimes because, they're not as good as me. But I myself, I have to beat myself up because I'm a special piece of shit. I should be better. Other people, yeah, they're just doing the best they can. But me, nah, I should know better. And really, you're scared to find out that you're not that special. It's like that Buddha quote: you yourself, as much as anybody else in the universe, deserve your love and compassion. And that quote scares people because self-love can be really scary sometimes. And further on that, self-love and being decent to yourself can seem scary because a lot of you are worried that if you stop beating yourself up, if you stop yelling at yourself, if you stop using anger and force on yourself, if you stop saying, I need to do this, I should do this, I have to do this, I must do this, if you stop being so hard on yourself, then you wouldn't take any action and you wouldn't achieve your goals. That's your secret fear. But as I said before, when you're kind to yourself, it's easier to take action because you feel good. Right now, you believe you need to force yourself to take action in order to achieve your goals. And you're worried that if you listen to the peace and love stuff that I talk about all the time, you'd somehow become less effective and less successful. It's like, motherfucker, you beautiful, beautiful ego, and we all have egos, you egotistical, beautiful people. I'm saying that with love. Which one of us is more successful right now, me or you? So which one of us probably has a better idea of how you can be successful too, me or you? And yet your ego, the ego part of your brain, will tell you, no, I have a better idea of what would help me than Andy does. Andy's coached hundreds of people at this point. He's done it himself. He's helped his girlfriend do it too. He's helped Bronwyn, the girl that they've been dating quite a bit. He's done all of this shit, and yet I know better than him. Even though I'm literally listening to his video to ask or to get some advice and help from him, I know better. And I know that anger would work better than peace and love and joy, and that if I become peaceful and loving and joyful, then I won't take action. No, again, I want all of you to be successful. I run this channel to help you with your fucking goals. That is literally the stated intention of the channel, for you to be happy and feel good and achieve goals. That is the point. That is literally the fucking coaching program too. And yet your brain worries that if you listen to the peace and love stuff, you wouldn't take action because you think you need to force yourself to take action. No, you'd become more successful if you would do the Play to Win video course. Again, I made it $1, so none of you would make excuses. So you'd pay $1 fucking for it and go and actually use it and do it. You will become more successful, and it is far easier to take action when you feel good versus when you feel like shit from beating yourself up constantly, all day, every day, nonstop, forever. Do you think it is easier to take action when you feel like dog shit because someone is bullying you, you're bullying yourself? Or do you think it's easier when everybody is supporting you and loving you and motivating you and cheering you on, which is something that you can do for yourself? Be your own best cheerleader. I did an article many years ago where I said, be hard on yourself in a constructive way, not a destructive way. And I said, if you're really that addicted to being hard on yourself, which lots of you are, let's just say 99.9% of the population is very, very, very addicted to being hard on themselves. If you're really that addicted to being hard on yourselves, at least do it in a constructive way rather than a destructive way. What that looks like is, rather than beating yourself up and pushing yourself down and saying, I'm a piece of shit and I'm a loser and what's wrong with me, you say, I can do better than this. I know I'm better than this. What I just did today, I can do better than this. Come on, I know I'm capable of more than this. So you're still kind of pushing yourself and being hard on yourself, but you're doing it in a positive way. You're giving yourself a pep talk. You're saying, I'm better than this, rather than what a lot of people do, which is, I'm a piece of shit. I'm not good enough. What's wrong with me? I shouldn't be doing this, where you're trying to almost push yourself down. So if you really must push yourself, if you really must use force on yourself, at least force yourself upwards rather than downwards. Maybe something else that you've been resisting or fighting, maybe you've been fighting some success in your own life because you've been secretly scared that you'll actually achieve that success and then realize that success didn't make you happy. Let me explain what I mean here. Some of you just listen to the channel and you're not really taking action, even though I break it down and I say, go and take some baby steps. And here's how you can take those baby steps. And here's exactly how to work on your dating life. Here's exactly how to work on your body. Here's exactly how to work on money. I break it down and make it as easy as I possibly humanly can. And yet some of you still resist that. And that's okay. I resisted for most of my life. Most people do, right? I'm not blaming you for that. But part of the reason why you might resist taking action and achieving your goals is because there's a little part of you that's like, but what if I achieve those goals and then I'm still unhappy? What if I go and have a lot of sex, but then I'm still not happy? What if I go and make tons of money, but then I find out the money didn't make me happy? After all, people say all the time, money won't buy happiness. What if they're right? And so you avoid taking any action because you're secretly worried that all the effort won't be worth it, even if you do achieve your goals. And I had this myself with money and sex. I was secretly so scared that I would have a ton of sex, make a ton of money, and then I would still be unhappy. And I will be very clear here. I say this in my content all the time. It is correct to say that money and sex by themselves, in and of themselves, will not make you happy. That is a correct statement. Yep, that's not a secret. Lots of people have told you that. To some extent, you probably know that that is partially true. Now, here is the part that people often don't tell you. You know, when people say money won't buy happiness, no, but the steps that you might need to take to get that money and the gratitude that you will practice, because I encourage you to practice gratitude the entire time, the gratitude that you will practice along the way, and the connections with other human beings that you will make along the way, and the friends and the accountability partners that you will make along the way, those things will bring you happiness. You could also phrase it like this: sex and money and fame will not bring you happiness by themselves, but it is the appreciation of those things that will. In other words, if you make a ton of money and you really appreciate it, you're so grateful for the journey that you went through, you're grateful with all the people that helped you, you form connections with those people and you're loyal to them and you give back to them and help them. And then you help people who haven't made money, you help them make money. You teach them, you're very generous with your knowledge. You don't have to be a coach or something, but like if you see someone struggling, you just give them a tiny bit of advice. In other words, you give back and lift the next person up and you become almost like a chain in a long, like a link in a long chain of human beings. You become like another person who's lifting up humanity itself rather than just yourself. That makes you happy. Again, it is not money, sex, and fame that will make you happy by themselves, but the appreciation of those things and the gratitude of those things and helping other people with those things and giving back some of those things to other people. You know, if you make a ton of money, share some of it with other people. You don't have to give the money away, but share the knowledge. You know, do whatever you want with your money, but share the knowledge. If someone else is struggling, be like, hey, bro, I used to be struggling with money too. I promise you can make it. Even just that fucking sentence is you giving back. If you make a ton of money, if you have a ton of sex, help some other person, man or woman, who's struggling with their dating life. Just give them a kind word and be like, hey, like, is there something that you'd like some help with? And they go, yeah, I would. Can I talk about it? And you go, yeah, I'll listen. And then you give a tiny bit of advice. You listen for like 20 minutes. That's it. That's all. You don't have to do anything amazing, but just give back a little bit. And so again, yes, it is a correct statement that sex, money, and fame and all of those things will not make you happy by themselves. But the deeper things of gratitude, appreciation, connection with other human beings, giving back to other people, that shit will make you happy. And so I went through this myself, like halfway through working on my sex life, when I'd already had like a whole bunch of sex and all of that. I'd already had threesomes and all of that. I was starting to realize that this sex itself wasn't making me happy just by itself. That's when I started focusing on gratitude, on giving to others, on forming deep connections with the people that I had sex with, on self-love, on appreciating what I already had, on enjoying the journey of self-improvement and being grateful for my own progress, and then trying to help other people with their progress, including the women that I was sleeping with. I would just give them little bits of advice or even just a little motivational word here and there. I'd be like, yeah, what goals do you have? And she'd tell me, and I'd be like, you can do it, girl. I believe in you. And she'd be like, wow, no one else believes in me. And I'd be like, let's do it, girl. Like, work on your goals. Like, you don't have to do anything amazing. And so focusing on the journey of self-improvement rather than just obsessing about the destination, that was what made me happy. In other words, appreciating every woman that I had sex with and what it took in order for me to have sex with her, like the self-improvement that it took, rather than just trying to rack up lays. Like some of you will come to me for coaching and you'll say, hey, bro, like my goal is to like fuck 50 women. And I'm like, cool. Why? And then your brain starts ticking and you go, wait, why? I don't know. I just thought I wanted to get laid 50 times. It's like, that won't bring you happiness, my brother. Why do you want to do this? And then we go through all the reasons. And they're like, well, I would like to connect with women. I'd love to explore my sexuality. I think that would be a beautiful expression of my creativity. I would love to explore the feminine slash masculine aspect, like the dynamic of how those two interact with each other. I would love to show myself that I'm capable of something beautiful. All my life, I've felt like I'm not good enough and I can't achieve a goal. I'd like to set a big goal and make progress. And I'm like, beautiful. That is the stuff we're going to focus on. And you will accidentally have sex with a lot of women. Like, we're going to do that too. Don't stress. That's easy. Like, that shit's easy. Having sex with 50 women is not hard. That might sound like an insane statement to some of you who are currently like not experienced, but it's not hard to have sex 50 times. You just figure out the steps and then repeat that 50 times. It's not hard. But the deeper stuff that will actually bring you meaning is appreciating each woman that you have sex with, appreciating your self improvement journey that it took to get there, appreciating the people that helped you have that sex, appreciating your own progress. All of this stuff is what I put in my Play to Win video course, which again, I'm going to say this for the 10th billionth time. That is literally the secret. It's not even a secret. People have been telling you guys and girls this shit forever. They've been telling us this stuff forever. But that is all the supposed secrets of how I've achieved everything, how I've achieved all the goals, how I've made all the success, and how I'm happy, especially the chapter in there, gratitude, mindfulness, and self reflection. That's very relevant to everything we're talking about today. But for God's sakes, ladies and gentlemen, there's literally a chapter in there on setting goals. And then there's a chapter on how to achieve those goals and how to deal with setbacks and how to deal with the fear and limiting belief around those goals. And so there's so much content in there about success and goals. And yet again, we see happiness and peace as almost like antithetical to success. We're like, what if that gets in the way of my goals? No, beautiful women and men, it will help you with your goals. You will be more successful if you are a happy, peaceful person. It's just that the part of our brain, our ego, is scared of all of that shit because it worries if it let itself go a little bit, if it gave up some of its control that it imparts upon our lives, that we wouldn't be successful and we wouldn't be happy. And it's kind of like this. Has the ego part of your brain made you happy so far? Probably not. And so why don't we try something else, which would be peace and love and excitement and moving towards what we want rather than running away from our fears and anger and all of that. That's what I call playing to win rather than playing not to lose. That is the fucking name of the video course, isn't it? Play to win. How I built a winner's mindset. Listen to the sentence there. Winner's mindset. How I won. How I achieved my goals. And I'm still working on that. I'm not, I haven't won completely at life or some shit, but you know what I mean. So there you go. Today's video has been some of the ways that my innocent little brain, or some of the things that my innocent brain has been scared of and has sometimes even fought peace, and how it's fought happiness, and how my brain has fought joy. The thing that I keep saying that I want, that a lot of you say you want. You say you want more happiness in your life. You say you just want to be a bit more peaceful. Everyone says that. Literally in the middle of fucking war, everybody is talking about how they want peace. Stop and think about that sentence for a second. In the middle of war, people say they want peace. People start wars saying they want peace. Literally, as they send the first missiles and shoot the first bullets, they say, we are only doing this so we can have peace. You shot first. You started the war. And you're saying we're doing this for peace. And so our brains do that too, don't they? They will start drama. We will be typing it into Google, angry fucking red pill articles that make me hate women. We'll type that into Google and we will be saying, I'm doing this so I can be a more peaceful, happy person. I'm doing this because going down the pathway of anger and hatred and judgment will eventually make me happy. That is such an irrational, insane statement, but we're innocent in that. We don't know any better. We think that running away from peace is the way that we get peace. No. We think that running towards anger is the way that we become gentle and peaceful and happy and confident. We think that using guilt and shame on ourselves is the way that we will eventually become confident. I can't think of a more insane statement than shame and guilt will eventually make me confident. If I just guilt trip myself and shame myself into taking action, then one day I'll be a confident person. That is insane, but that's also very innocent Our brains are very innocent, and so there's no need to judge yourself for any of these sort of thoughts that you might have believed. I have believed them all too. I still sometimes believe some of these insane, irrational thoughts like war will bring me peace, judgment will bring me connection with other people, putting up my walls will mean that I get what I want, treating other people harshly means that I will be a happier, more confident person. I've believed those lies too, and I still do sometimes with some of them. And so we're all on this pathway of progress. We're all on this pathway towards the things that we keep saying we want, which is happiness, success, and a little bit of peace. Let's actually do those things instead of inserting a bunch of middle steps, that we think we have to do. Let's skip the middleman and set happiness as the goal. Let's skip the middleman and jump straight to peace. And it might not be a big straight there jump for some of you. Start with the Play to Win video course, then read Letting Go by David Hawkins, then read I Need Your Love Is That True by Byron Katie, then read, all of those kind of Buddhism books and stuff that I talk about. It's a journey. I'm still on that journey. But let's skip the middle step of thinking that we need war in order to get peace, or drama in order to be happy, or anger in order to take action. We don't need those things. They're actually a distraction. They might be temporarily effective. They might be a tiny bit effective, but there are more effective tools. You can go straight to peace and use that as a tool. You can let excitement guide you. Instead of saying, I have to go outside and talk to women today, you say, I'm excited to go outside and talk to women today. Instead of saying, I need to earn more money, you say, I really want to earn more money. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be so fun. Oh, I love money and I'm excited to bring more of it into my life. What do I need to do to make that happen? Instead of saying, I'm going to treat women as the enemy and I really hope that I get a girlfriend one day, these women better give me a chance and I better hope that I use or lose my virginity. You say, I'm excited to meet some women and have a blast, and I'm going to have a curious mindset, no expectations, only curiosity. I'm going to improve myself. I'm going to take action every single day. I'm going to go out there and talk to women and see what happens. I'm so excited. And instead of using force on yourself and saying, I have to beat myself up and make myself get off the couch, I better yell at myself to go to the gym, what if you just said, I'm excited to go to the gym? I can't wait. In fact, nothing can hold me back. Then you will be potentially limitless. There will be no end to the excitement that you feel towards your life, no end to the love that you feel towards yourself and other people, and there will be no stopping you when it comes to your goals. So I'd love to hear from some of you guys and girls. Feel free to leave a comment below, or you can send me an email or something if you want. Where in your own life have you felt yourself fighting your own happiness and peace? Whatever your goals might be, whether that's money, relationships, sex and dating, fitness, health, friendships, whatever, we are here to help you make those beautiful goals come to life. Ed did it. Taylor did it. Harry did it. None of them are special. If you're listening to this, you know you're capable of more than you're currently giving. You already want something more than what everybody else around you seems to be content with. You want to achieve more, be more, give more to the world. You know it, and I know it. You're destined for something beautiful. Click the link to the coaching in the description below, and let us help you get there. Happiness starts today.